MARCIE.
When the pandemic became a reality in our country and things started shutting down, I was in panic mode. I went to the board of directors. I said, "Are we deemed essential workers?" And a pediatrician on our board said, "Of course you are. Babies need to eat, and babies need breast milk during a pandemic." So that answered that. My next move was to talk to the staff. Would they be willing to come in? Will they be willing to see families during a pandemic? The answer was yes. As long as families needed us, we remained open.
When I found out that I was pregnant with Amelia, I had no idea that I would be navigating pregnancy and childbirth and taking care of my first baby during a pandemic. I was searching online for ways that we could prepare ourselves, and I saw that the Breastfeeding Resource Center was offering a prenatal breastfeeding class. Amelia was born August 2nd via emergency C-section. I scheduled an appointment with Colette 2 days after we got back from the hospital. It was really great to be able to get some in-person support, which was there's just not a lot of that during a pandemic.
She was only 2 days old, and I was already having latch issues. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was under a huge amount of stress, especially at the start of the pandemic and everything. I was just losing my mind. And poor Colette, I walked in and she had a box of tissues waiting for me. And she just let me kind of get everything out, and then she really helped me to relearn how to relatch her and reposition her properly. I love being part of your community, and I really appreciate all the help I've received. This whole thing can feel really lonely. It was comforting to have that kind of support.
I'm really grateful for the Breastfeeding Resource Center and all of the care and comfort it provides for the patients that we refer, the moms that we refer, as they seek to establish one of the most important things that they can for their new babies. We really appreciate their accessibility and availability all through the COVID pandemic, and their communication with us as we send the patients to them and they send them back to us.
You guys were recommended to me by my pediatrician, and you were my first and only call, and I'm grateful for you guys because you were a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge, and you made me feel comfortable in knowing that as long as my baby is fed, I was winning as a mom. So again, we just want to say thank you to the Breastfeeding Resource Center for their help.
KIARA was born during the quarantine period in April 2020, and we are so thankful that we found Colette and her team. They were open while we were learning all about a new world, and me for the first time being a mom and learning about motherhood. So I appreciate all the help and all the support they provided for the first few months while I was learning all about breastfeeding. So I hope they can keep helping other families like they helped me and my baby KIARA.
You will not believe your ears. I had asthmatitis 5 times. Yes, 5 times. I was too afraid to go outside seeing specialists during pandemic, so I decided to treat it myself. That is the big no-no. I went to BRC at Abington, and I had a great experience. Jen was there to provide all information that I needed. Thank you, BRC, for wonderful breastfeeding support.
He was born March 9th, so right at the start of the pandemic. When we left the hospital, we were really uncertain of what was still open, and I was in really need of a lactation consultant. And so I reached out to the BRC, and they were able to meet with us in person. I know there was televisits, but there's something about going in person for a lactation visit that just makes things so much better. I benefited a lot from the weekly meetings that they had via Zoom, especially during that pandemic. Those first 3 months were really rough, so it was just nice to connect with the lactation consultants and other moms.
Without their help and support during the pandemic, we would never been able to still be pumping and providing breast milk for my daughter, especially with me working. Thank you.
During a global pandemic and during a lockdown within the global pandemic, I hadn't left the house other than to have my son in the hospital, and I was pretty nervous about going anywhere, and yet I felt completely safe and comfortable at the BRC, and I was given the support that I needed to continue in our breastfeeding journey.
I would like to say thank you to the Breastfeeding Resource Center for all of their help and allowing us to come even though insurance didn't cover it. He was born 6 weeks early and was in the NICU for 18 days because he couldn't latch properly. After he learned to breathe on his own, he just wouldn't eat. And with the help of the Resource Center, we were able to get him latched. We were able to help pumping not to hurt anymore. So I'm just so thankful because without them, I was in a lot of pain and I probably would have given up. And I'm just thankful for everything that they've done to ensure his success.
I was really having a hard time breastfeeding my daughter, and we were concerned with her weight. I found out that our insurance did not cover these visits, and without the discounted rate for these appointments, I would not have been able to get the support I needed. I'm happy to say that my daughter is about to be 11 months old and I'm still breastfeeding. I never thought this would have been possible, but it was because of the support from the Breastfeeding Resource Center and their expert knowledge that I'm still breastfeeding today.
We have a wonderful group here that I get to see every week for baby Campbell, and it's just been so wonderful to get out even for a little bit of time. And I'm so happy to have a nice safe space to come and spend time with her and make sure that she's growing really well and ask questions about, am I doing this right? Is there a reason for this? And to bounce the ideas off the other moms, and also have Colette or another lactation consultant here to kind of give us some confidence in some of these decisions.
We've been so grateful to the BRC for having support group during COVID. We've been here every week that it's been offered, and right now there's a great group of other moms. Lori's my second, so it's definitely nice to interact with other new moms and remember all those things about newborns, right, Laura? But we're just so grateful, something to look forward to each week, to get out of the house where we're socially distant, but still getting to see people that I don't live with.
I also am very grateful for both the online and in-person support groups. I only wish I would have found them sooner. They've meant a lot as a first-time mom without family in the area, helping me realize what is normal for being a mom and get through the challenges. So thank you very much.
The telehealth visit was very educational for me. It was a quick video, it was a face chat. She gave me so many incredible resources on how to wean my daughter, and I'm just very thankful that I could speak to someone face to face regarding my current issue.
At around 7 weeks, she started clicking, spilling a lot of milk, creating an oversupply, was really fussy on the breast. Yeah. Had a really hard time nursing. I had a lot of pain in both sides. We had just recently moved to New Jersey, and I just didn't feel comfortable with any of the lactation consultants that I was talking to over the phone. So I called you guys up. Virtual visit during COVID was great. I was able to get help from an hour and a half away, and my experience with Jen was great. So I thank you guys. Again, you're 2 for 2 on helping me and my babies with breastfeeding.
During the pandemic, me and my son were trying to wean from breastfeeding, and the BRC was there for me. Louisa did a telehealth visit with me, and we came up with a plan with multiple options on how we could wean, and it worked seamlessly. It was great. I really appreciate the BRC and what they have done to help me along my journey.